now turn up.
Welcome, is Marcus' Dynasty Football Dads. We're going to be doing the top rookie quarterbacks in 2021 here. We're going to be going through Superflex and 1QB rankings. First of all, we're giving away a Jerry Jeudy free signed jersey. All you have to do is be a subscriber for a chance to win. When we hit 1K, we'll be giving it away to one of you guys. So I'm going to break this down into a couple different tiers here. We're just going to start at 1 because Trevor Lawrence is the easy number 1 here. I've even heard people saying like Trey Lance coming up and beating 101. No, stop. Like especially in Superflex leagues, Trevor Lawrence is the 101, and it's not even close. His safety is like night and day difference than the other quarterbacks in this draft. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a once-in-a-generational talent, and what he lacks in maybe some of his mobility upside of like Trey Lance, he still has mobility. He still runs a 4.6 40, so we're talking about a quarterback that can still run and still be effective on the ground. We're talking like he can still run probably as fast as Josh Allen, and he has an amazing arm. He has all the tools that you'd want. Trevor Lawrence, 101 in Superflex, and where we're looking at in 1QB leagues, because that's actually the bigger question probably for William Trevor Lawrence, is where does he go? Where does he go in this 1QB? And I see him going anywhere from like this 108 range all the way to like probably 201. So you're seeing him fluctuate probably with the, I would say, Bateman, the both Moores, and then you're going to see kind of the Terrace Marshall, that kind of tier there. You're going to see Trevor Lawrence right in that. And honestly, Trevor Lawrence is my 108 right now, but if you need a wide receiver, then take him ahead of Trevor Lawrence. But if you need a quarterback, Trevor Lawrence is the easy 101 in Superflex, and mid to late, you could say probably later, whatever 108 is in your mind. 108 out of 112, that is that mid-ish, late mid. Take him now. My 102 is going to be Justin Fields, my number 2 ranked quarterback. And Justin Fields, again, mobility. We talk about his safety net. Trey Lance, we're going to be talking about really soon here, is really high boomer bust. I feel like Justin Fields, even though he's in a Chicago offense, which is maybe not as good as some of the other offenses, he still has, I believe, safety. I feel like he is the second best quarterback in this draft. And just looking at how he can be mobile, he does go through some progressions decently well when you watch back through the tape and everything. And he has shown abilities to be this really, really amazing quarterback on these high stages. So Justin Fields, I mean, if you watch his last like 6 games, he showed out in majority of those games. He showed out that he could compete with like Trevor Lawrence, and in that kind of fantasy production wise, and ultimately that's what we care about, fantasy production. 2 through 4 are very, very close. So we're going to go with number 3 is Trey Lance. And I'll tell you where these guys go in 1QB leagues here soon. But pretty much these QBs are 2 through 4 in Superflex. I mean, it's pretty, there might be a Najee Harris owner, there might be a Jamar Chase owner or Kyle Pitts owner that tries to jump in to these quarterback spots. But I'm taking quarterbacks in a lot of different situations. You can message me what the situation is. Comment what your situation is if it's a different situation. But Trey Lance is my number 3 quarterback. He is high boom, high bust. I mean, he has chances of being nothing. He has really chances of being a really mobile quarterback that just doesn't pan out. San Francisco is banking that they don't. I think he won't. I think he'll be a good quarterback as well. But we're looking at Deshaun Watson upside and a lot of mobility. You're talking about kind of maybe even like a Jalen Hurts fantasy production wise, which can be a top 10 quarterback and sometimes maybe even sneak into that top 5 quarterback range. So Trey Lance, number 3, so Zach Wilson's gonna be number 4. And where I'm seeing these 3 quarterbacks is probably into that early to mid-ish late second in 1QB leagues. You're gonna see these quarterbacks start falling. Honestly, though, you're seeing Baker Mayfield, and you're seeing a lot of these like quarterbacks that are in their like 3rd and 4th years. They're just starting to get devalued. Or even like, honestly, Tom Brady, who's been sticking around. Like a lot of times, I'm seeing these quarterbacks go for like mid-late seconds. And would I rather have maybe like 3 more years or 5 more years of Tom Brady? Who knows? 10 more years of Tom Brady, maybe he's 52. No, I'm just kidding. Would I rather have 2 to 3 more years of Tom Brady, which I think we may see, or 5 more years of Baker Mayfield, rather than some of these quarterbacks that maybe are a little bit more risky? it's a debate to be had, for sure. That's definitely a question in my mind, because, I mean, a lot of times, I saw Tom Brady just go for third in the league. I'm just like, whoa, what happened? Like, Tom Brady's still really good quarterback in one QB. You're still going to get a top 10 fantasy quarterback. He just doesn't run. Anyways, sidebar. All right, Zach Wilson, again, I really do like his talent. I think he is the biggest chance of busting out of this entire top four. The Jets situation is looking better with Elijah Moore there now, with Corey Davis being signed, and Michael Carter out of the backfield. But Zach Wilson, 2 through 4, I mean, if you argued and said Zach Wilson's my number 2, I'd be like, all right, that's fine. And if you argued that Trey Lance would be your number 2, I can see that. So we have 1, 2 through 4 is a gap. And then number 5 is going to be Mac Jones. Mac Jones, where I'm seeing in Superflex is I personally want him towards the later of the first round. I'm not picking him ahead of the Kyle Pitts or Jalen Waddles, the big 3 running backs, the big 3 wide receivers. So really, you're seeing them at the back half, like 112, 201 is where I'm seeing Mac Jones, in my opinion, where he should go. Just because his rushing upside is 0. He doesn't have rushing upside, so that is a big issue at hand. And so when we say, like, what was his upside is probably like Kirk Cousins, which is not bad. It's just, I'd rather have like Jalen Waddle and then go try to get a different quarterback in a different, like, would rather try to trade a 2022 first or something for a different quarterback, or try to package and move up. One of those things. Mac Jones he's fine. He's fine. He's not amazing, but in one QB, we're talking probably the earliest would be the late second, and the latest would probably be mid third. I mean, that's honestly where he is. So these next 2 quarterbacks, Kellen Mond is my number 6 quarterback. And so Kellen Mond, again, so let's go through these 2 last, I guess you could say tier 4 quarterbacks, because Mac Jones is kind of his own tier. So you got tier 1, Trevor Lawrence, and you got tier 2, those 3 quarterbacks. Tier 3, you have Mac Jones by himself. And then tier 4, you have Davis Mills, and then you have Kellen Mond. The biggest question is, so Kellen Mond's a little bit ahead, Vikings, Skull. Anyways, so do you want a quarterback for now? Like, are you in desperate need of a quarterback? So you have kind of like 3 questions. Are you in desperate need of a quarterback now for this next year? Are you needing a quarterback for the future? And C, do you have Deshaun Watson? Because if you have Deshaun Watson, Davis Mills is your pick. If you want a quarterback now, Davis Mills is your pick. And if you need a quarterback for later, which is probably the majority of people, they already have a quarterback. They already have somebody else on their roster that can be sufficient for at least a year, maybe 2 years. That is where you pick Kellen Mond. And he is he's 10-15% chance of being Dak Prescott. The rest of the chances of probably being a bust. But you got to start picking some of these quarterbacks somewhere. And so these quarterbacks are end of the second, early third rounders for me in Superflex. And in one QB, we're talking like 4th round. So we're talking, it's deep out there. I mean, but again, sometimes you just got to throw these flyers out there. They're 3rd round picks, but I mean, their upsides, 3rd round picks, your upsides are limited. I mean, Kellen Mond is, I still think, 2-3 years of being away from being a starting quarterback in the NFL. Davis Mills, I think, is a huge risk. Like, we don't know what's going on, and he could only perform for maybe a year. And then if Deshaun Watson comes back, then he is literally worth nothing. So he might be like the Jared Stidham, like, oh my goodness, he's worth it. He's going to be the starting quarterback for New England. All of a sudden, Cam Newton's in there, and you're like, oh, he's not worth anything. And they have Tyrod Taylor there at Houston as well. And so maybe Tyrod Taylor takes over. That's definitely a possibility that happens if Deshaun Watson not there. So again, this is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads. I'm just a dad doing Dynasty. So if you're new to the channel, we're giving away a Jerry G free signed jersey. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.
Now turn up.